Hey all, welcome back to another Blue Square COGS template here. Today we're going to be talking about something pretty similar to what we talked about last week with the welcome email. This is going to be a little bit different though. There's a lot of businesses that rely on testimonials and rely on feedback. It's a core aspect of what is known as the lean startup, right? You need to get information in about your product or your service in order to tweak it so it's a little bit better in the future. And how do you do that? Well, one way that you can do that is by gathering information directly from your customers, whether that be within an email, within a quick form within your website itself, or if you really want to go the old-fashioned way, you can take the common survey and throw it online and build a customer satisfaction survey that's built into your basic processes within your business. So first and foremost, you want to decide, and this is kind of the most important part of this, you want to decide on what your trigger event is going to be. It can be a bunch of different things, right? Maybe you are finishing the service. They paid that last payment, and you're like, okay, I want to make sure to send that customer satisfaction survey their way so they can answer it. Or maybe you're just getting started and you want to get their information or their take on just basically the onboarding process. It doesn't really matter. The core aspect is identifying in your opinion what is going to be that trigger event, right? So what we'll do today to just make it as easy as humanly possible is we will make it the trigger event being signing up for a newsletter on MailChimp. Or we'll also throw something in that is just going to be a form submission on a Squarespace site or a Wix site. So let's start with that form submission, right? So the first thing that we want to do is, name our Zap, right? So customer satisfaction survey. So that's Blue Square COGS. Trigger, we're going to go in here and we are going to go to Wix. Wix actually has just revamped their automations on Zapier, which I'm pumped about. I love working with Wix, and they have a lot of instant options. So what we'll do is we'll actually go ahead and use e-commerce as an example for this. Unfortunately, we don't have a Wix account set up. But what we will do instead is go ahead and use an account that we have on standby. So now that we loaded this account in, what we want to do is we want to select the specific trigger that is order placed, right? Because what we want to do is we want to get their satisfaction from their experience within the e-commerce store. And then the final thing you want to do is go ahead and run that test. So here, since this actually isn't an e-commerce platform or client or site, we actually don't have any information. They're going to give us a test data piece. And the reason we like using these is because it gives you everything. It gives you every single field that you could possibly get. If you're running a test and you're actually getting some type of e-commerce feedback or an e-commerce test, you may not get all of these fields. And again, that might throw a wrench in your plan to really set this up. But let's go ahead and move to the next step. We're going to continue with that selected record. The next thing that we want to do is we want to set up constraints for what survey they get, right? Maybe you have multiple different channels. Say, for instance, your e-commerce, you sell pet supplies, right? Maybe you sell some food, maybe you sell toys, and then maybe you sell leashes, right? Well, obviously, you're not going to ask the same questions for all of them. So you want to decide what is going to organize your products the best, in kind of the best manner so that you can organize your surveys. And that's going to help you gather the information that you're actually going to need in order to make the decisions that you need to make. So what we'll do is, again, you can use path steps in order to break it down into multiple paths based on those constraints. And you can use a field such as like the type, right? Maybe category. So looking through some of these You can sort it by the SKU number, right? Maybe it's a specific item that you want to gather feedback on. You could also sort it by the whether it's shippable or not. You could sort it by the discount value if there's a specific type of promotion that you're trying to gather feedback on. Additionally, you could also look at the coupon codes, the cities, whatever it may be, and you can do a lot of this stuff on basically any CMS or any type of web builder. Obviously, you probably don't want to sort it based on like payments or anything like that, but just even the attribution source would be nice. Gathering some information from where they're coming from, right? Say you're running some ads, see how that experience is like. So now that we've covered a few of those, and catalogs is another one that's a great one that you can sort by. But now that we kind of went through that, let's talk about the survey, right? And again, you can set up constraints for each one of these paths, but what we're going to do is we're going to keep it simple, and we're going to go ahead and stagger a survey. So once again, they go ahead, they purchase something. Maybe we want to delay it, right? Maybe we want to delay it for maybe 3 days. So we go ahead 3, not hours, days, right? So maybe 3 days. Rule of thumb, try to keep it as quick as possible, because after they purchase that product, a lot of times, if they're not like a diehard like brand follower of yours, they may kind of fall off. You may not retain them as a long-time customer, especially if that's not your business model. So you want to make sure you do it pretty quick. So 3 might even be long. Maybe you just want to do 1 day. Or maybe you want to do just like a few hours, right? Maybe you want to do like 12 hours or even 3 hours. Just do 3 hours, why not? And then the final thing, you want to go ahead, and I'm going to skip this test because, again, these basically always work. And then the final thing we want to do is we want to pick where we're sending this survey from, right? So there's a lot of different methods on how you can send surveys, and most email marketing companies have survey emails that you can send out. Like MailChimp has them, Klaviyo have them as well, Constant Contact has them, Drip has them, ActiveCampaign, the list goes on. But if you just want to send like a Survey Monkey too, you can go ahead and send a quick Survey Monkey and send them to that contact. I don't have a Survey Monkey account at the moment, but what it's going to do is you're going to, during this action stage, it's going to ask you to send to a specific contact, because as you can see, send a survey invitation to 1 or more contacts and or emails right there. So that's going to prompt you to enter an email right in that action. So if you don't have an email marketing account or a platform that you can use to do that, well, you don't really have to worry about that, because SurveyMonkey will just send it for you, right? Additionally, if you have a survey account on a different platform that's not even on Zapier, that's totally fine too. You could even just queue up a quick Gmail or Outlook, right? You can go ahead and Microsoft Outlook. You could go to Gmail, Yahoo Mail. Yahoo Mail is not there anymore. I'm an old head. Sorry about that. Event, create, and send email right here. And once again, you just drop that link right in that account, right in the body. Be a little careful about this one, because if you're sending impromptu emails from Gmail, especially with these new drawbacks with a lot of the privacy concerns with Gmail, Yahoo, Outlook, that a lot of these email marketing companies are kind of pushing back on. Totally fair, obviously. I mean, I'm a big privacy guy, especially with these automations. That's one thing that's typically a barrier, but it's also a barrier that's supposed to protect us, right? So make sure that you're not spamming, and make sure that you put a one-click unsubscribe within the body of your Gmail, and also make sure that if someone does unsubscribe, you never email them again. Also, if you're using a personal domain that's not a Google Workspace domain, be a little bit more careful, because if that's the only email you use in your business, if you send to too many people and get a few spam reports, you're going to get blacklisted, and you're not even going to be put into that inbox in the first place. So tread carefully with this step. But right there, that's all you have to do to set up a customer satisfaction survey. And this automation is going to run for you, and it's completely customizable, right? You can jump back in here and customize exactly what you want those satisfaction surveys to be in response to, whether it be other e-commerce products or even just purchases in general. You could also send different ones based on that path step that we talked about. And you can even filter them, right? If you only wanted certain things to pass through to make sure that you don't use all of these zaps, that's another very, very easy way to go ahead and do that. If you have the path stage, you really don't need this filter stage because they do pretty much the same thing. If you want to learn a little bit more about the different actions within Zapier that are provided to you, you can jump into the Zapier Mastery course that's on the COGS website. If you want to read a little bit more about different programs that offer this service and sending these customer satisfaction surveys, you can go ahead and read the blog on it. But until next time, that's going to be all. Thanks for joining us for this blue square presentation of a COGS template for customer satisfaction surveys.